Councilman Samaluka. Here. Councilwoman Mazur.
Here.
Councilman Camilleri.
Here.
Councilman Accomando.
Here.
Council President Darminia.
Here. Can we rise to salute the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Jack Impameni, a teacher and vice principal at our high school. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on April 28, 2017, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Before I make a motion to open the meeting to the public on the budget, I'd like to ask our auditor to please give us a summary on the budget.
Thank you, Council President, and good evening, everybody. Tonight you have before you the 2017 municipal budget that was introduced last month. We also have on the agenda a small amendment to that budget that's being required by the state to make a couple of small adjustments. This budget, as presently constituted, has just about a 1% increase in spending over 2016. That is the driver, salaries and benefits, contractual obligations to the employees. The tax impact for 2017, the average residential assessment of approximately $329,000. The tax increase is $34. That is driven largely by the reassessment program that was instituted last year. The tax rate actually goes from 92.7 cents down to 84.6 cents because the town was reassessed, the assessments were adjusted, the value of the town became a little bit higher, which drives down the actual tax rate. But the important number here is that the average residential homeowner would see about a $34 increase in the municipal taxes for the year. And again, most of that's due to the implementation of that rolling reassessment that you started with last year.
Okay. Can I get a motion to open the meeting on the municipal budget?
A second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Darminia.
Yes. The meeting is now open to the public on the budget. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up. No one has any questions on the budget? Well, I'm going to leave the meeting open for other issues. Please come up now instead of closing and opening again. Anybody have anything?
Larry, retired check, 92 Claremont. Last month I had some questions on the zoning board, whether certain people were able to be on it and not be on it. And one of the people I mentioned was firemen. And I believe, Ms. Mazur, you missed the whole point of that. I know you made a comment saying that why wouldn't we want firemen? Firemen are very good to have on the zoning board. The reason that I was asking that is because they are compensated by the town. And they were telling us that the bus driver couldn't be on because he was being compensated by the town. And that's the reason why we want to know whether firemen are allowed on or not.
Larry,
Had nothing
excuse
against
me.
them.
I have the law with me, actually printed. on the planning and zoning who is allowed to be on it. So if you'd like it at the
I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for that. I'm telling Miss Mazer what she missed, the reason why I asked whether firemen were allowed on or not. Had nothing about their knowledge. I say their knowledge is good for the zoning board. And she said, I couldn't understand why anybody wouldn't want a fireman on the zoning board. Well, we do want them on the zoning board, provided they're allowed, like other people are. But that was the whole issue. I had nothing against a person being a fireman. Okay, it was whether they're being compensated by the town or not. That was the reason why we were asking that. The next thing I'm going to ask again, I'm going to ask every month, the sidewalk is still on Saddle River Road now. That's 3 months.
We received an answer today.
Excuse me?
I can update you on that.
Go ahead,
They're
give
gonna
me an
make
update.
the repairs next week.
It will what?
They will make the repairs next week.
Okay, is the tree coming down or no?
I don't know about the tree.
Well, here's the thing,
sidewalk.
how are you going to chop the roots out? That's what's holding the
That's going to
sidewalk
be
up.
up to the homeowner and the arborist and the contractor. The arborist
Well,
said the
do you
tree
think the
is-
town should have a say in whether the tree comes down or not, whether it's a safety issue or not?
It's not a safety issue since we had an arborist review it and said the tree is
Well,
healthy.
if you chop the roots on a tree, obviously there's a safety issue. And that's what's pushing
have
the
to wait and see
sidewalk
how the
up.
repairs are
I'm not an arborist, I don't know, but I'm just saying that, it should
a
be done the right way.
possibility.
You said last month that we settled the contract with the crossing guards. When does that new contract take effect?
Takes effect July 1st. It's retroactive to July 1st of 2016.
So it's retroactive, but they're still working the lunchtime.
That's been negotiated so that a post was eliminated. We've reduced some of the hours. As new people replace the current people, the lunch hour will be eliminated, except by the high school area. There'll be 3 posts.
I still see the crossing guards all over town at lunchtime.
I just said, as they retire and new people take the post.
So they're still going to get paid for that?
Yes.
Well, what kind of contract did you negotiate?
It's a
The
contract.
contract,
as we've
if
done
the
with every
contract
other
is up, that part, you should just say, look, you're null and void, we don't have lunchtime anymore.
It's give and take
That's
on
over.
both parts. That's the
Excuse me?
It's give and take on both parts, and that's the contract we worked.
So we just have that money just to blow away and just give out free hours and they sit in their cars. They don't even get out and stand. They sit in their cars. They're sitting in their cars and getting paid. And you negotiated a new contract. That's whoever did the negotiating did some job. I mean, really. The contract is over and it's retroactive back to July 16th or July of 16. So, I mean, that should have ended all lunchtime issues, yes or no? Who negotiated that contract? Who negotiates it?
Contract was negotiated by me. the
By you?
administration. Yes, I sat with the school crossing.
Okay,
guard.
so you just gave that hour away. Did you ever figure
We got
out what
things
it cost
back
us,
to-
Pete, for
we
all of
got-
them years?
we got things
I
back.
figured it out easily, and I don't know exactly what they make, and it's over $300,000 that we just blew away, and you're still giving it away. You give the town away. You can't
No.
give it away.
It's not, but. I'm
You're not
gonna
giving
debate
it away?
I'm not going to debate it with you.
Well, it's not nothing to debate about. If there's open lunch, we need crossing guards. If there's no open lunch, we don't need them. And you started a new contract, and you still gave it to them. You're some negotiator on their part, not on ours. Look for our interests, not you're being
always
paid
do.
by us, not by them. Okay, I understand. On Tuesday night, you were saying that you're having a problem with the concrete on Cambridge Avenue in the engineer's report, or the 2 residents complained about the contract. You know what the contractor is, who the contractor is? That's the one that was never supposed to work here anymore, Garcia. And he was never supposed to get another contract here. And every time he does a job, he doesn't finish a job, he goes to arbitration to get paid, and now who's going to fix the mess up that he has with the concrete now? You get what you pay for, and I told you, he's not a reliable guy, you knew that. And Joe, you knew it also, and it was brought up 2-3 years ago. He was never to work in town again, after the fiasco with the scoreboard at the high school. And we rewarded him with Less Wing, and we rewarded him with Cambridge Ave. And he rewarded us. So, it's one problem after another. What are we doing with veterans now? I see we're authorizing the engineer to negotiate with contractors now. When do we plan on finishing that?
All right, so if I can, Council President, this may be headed toward the litigation arena, unfortunately. So I don't want to, without saying too much, there's an attorney involved on the other side, and we're pursuing all of our options. And one of them is, as recognized in the resolution, having the engineer, we've deemed it an emergency situation due to the circumstances, and allowing our engineer to put together whatever cost it is, and work needs to be completed to go to the various contractors that are willing to pick up on it, and then just having the mayor and the engineer confirm, do the award, so we don't have to wait. In the meantime, the surety contractor is still doing what he's alleged to be doing, which is to put together another contract with another contractor, but we're not waiting. We're moving on. We're supposed to move on because of the delay that's taken place. We're very unhappy about it, but unfortunately, the situation wasn't caused by the council. This was caused by a contractor, and this is something, unfortunately, that is common. It happens in other towns, so we're doing what we're supposed to do to
Well,
protect the
did
town.
the guy go bankrupt or did he not go bankrupt?
I don't know. I didn't hear he went bankrupt. I just heard that he had overextended himself with projects. But I don't know. Tom Lemanowitz knew.
So he just walked off the job and that's it?
Do you know, Rick? Did Tom tell you?
So-
I believe Rick Aranger for the engineer. As I understand, he did overextend himself, and he cannot do any more work. I don't believe he's out of business, but he can't do any more work. And I believe the town then notified the bonding company. The bonding company has dragged their feet, as I understand. And what the town has asked me to do is, contractor has done a certain amount of work. They've asked us to as-built what he has done, revise the plans and specifications accordingly, and go out to bid on that.
Let me ask you this, did he get more money than he did work?
No.
Or, no? So what are we worried about? Like I said,
Finish the project.
getting the project, that's what I'm saying, but he doesn't owe us any money.
No.
So what would stop us from moving on?
So that's what
The bonding company.
No,
But I'm saying he doesn't, if we gave him $10,000, just hypothetically, and he did $5,000 worth of work, we're $5,000 up on him. We go hire another thing. We still have the money for the project, yes or no?
Yes,
So why can't we spend it?
the legal parts that our attorney was just explaining, Larry.
thank you. Yeah, what we're doing is, the council is being proactive to revise the plans and specs accordingly so that we can get another contractor to complete the work. In the meantime, the attorney is going down the avenue with the bonding company. So we are approaching it from both sides. First off, I don't deal with hypothetical situations, but I did go on record. The contractor's performed work, we have paid him for that work. And as I understand, that work has been accepted. That's where we stand
Okay.
right now.
So we need to hire a new contractor.
If the council wants to go that way, our plans
Well,
and specs.
what other options do we have?
There are two options. You can go through the bonding company, or you can not do that and seek your own contractor and finish it out. Those are the two options that the town wants to be ready to and prepared to do.
Well, if we're not owed any, are we owed money by the bonding company? Why do we get the bonding company involved? If they don't owe any money and they're not, he doesn't owe us any money, right?
He does not owe us any money,
Okay,
but there is a contract to complete this work for X amount of dollars,
right,
and that's on the bonding company.
okay.
The town wants us to revise the plans and specs accordingly, and if in fact we do go out to bid, see what that's gonna cost us, cost the town. Then they can see which way to go.
And how long do you think that's gonna take? And do you think you're gonna get it done for the same price?
I
Through the
can't,
chair.
I don't know
Through the
that.
chair.
Through the chair, Larry, we gave them 10 days. They don't have an answer for us in 10 days. We're doing what we need to do as a council to make sure the project gets.
Make
completed.
what?
We gave them 10 days. If they don't give us an answer in 10 days, we as the governing body
Well,
do what we
you know
need to do
what?
to get this
That's fine,
project
that's
completed.
fine. Now you're taking a little action, but don't you think you waited a little too long? This guy walked off the job and how long ago?
All
How
legal.
long ago?
Yeah, but Larry, it's all legal stuff. We just can't just say, oh, he walked off, we gotta do, it's all legalities we gotta go through.
So in other words, like I say, it'll be another year till that's done.
No.
Okay.
They couldn't do anything because, what Rick just said, there's a contract, and who knows?
But who
that-
broke the contract? Him or us?
Well, we didn't break a contract,
He did.
obviously, right? But the
Obviously,
problem-
he did.
But this is the problem, though. We awarded a bid for a certain amount of money. So, like Rick was just saying, what if, he's soliciting and we deemed it an emergency. We're not even gonna go through that whole bidding, which is gonna take even longer.
Did he have a due date?
I
Is he
don't-
past the due date now or no?
The,
Did he have a due date on the project? He did. Is he past the due date now?
But
Huh?
we're gonna allege damages.
How much time did you give him?
Larry,
You have to let the attorney finish.
Go ahead.
Larry, what happens is, we have kept the surety, and I don't want to talk too much about this only because, there's a lawyer involved here and he has threatened litigation, because we're saying, and this is a fact, that we're going to solicit these contractors, and if we find one that can do the job, we're not saying that it has to be X dollars. We need to get it done. His guy was supposed to get it done for a certain price. If it's more than that, my letters that have gone to the attorney and to the surety say, we're holding you responsible for that. So we can't just go out and say, all right, that's it, and go outside of, the course of the surety without doing our due diligence, which is what we did. And we have done the right thing by giving them the chance, and they have had the contractor vote. Is that his name? Vote.
But this is, like
Who
I
has
say,
met
it's,
with us on a number of
okay.
occasions. It's not like, but then he didn't get back to Tom Lemanowitz for a long period of time. So we've been trying to do what we're supposed to do to protect the town and get this done.
okay, so the total project was estimated to be what number? 500,000?
I don't have
550, somewhere around there?
a little more, I believe.
A little more than that, 600,000. Okay. So if we're going to be fooling around with $50,000, get another contract, that's $50,000 more. We just gave the crossing guards $300,000 for not working. So, I know you're mixing apples with oranges, so you can't hold up a project for $50,000. You can't. I mean, it's open there, it looks horrible.
Where'd you get $300,000?
If you add up all of the crossing guards' hours for the years that we paid them,
Years, how many years you going back? 50?
how many years is lunch gone for?
I have no idea.
2 years? How many, Sylvia? 2 years. Okay, so how many crossing guards are there? I don't know. How many crossing guards? 50, 60?
22 posts.
No,
How many?
Not 50, no.
It's like 22, 23.
Okay, so 20. They get $20 an hour?
About that.
Okay, do the math.
But how many hours a week do they work?
You're giving away each week, each crossing guard, what?
Every day, 1 hour.
Every day, 1 hour. It's 5 hours a week. It's $100 per person per week for 2 years. Put it in perspective.
Not all posts have that.
What do you mean, not all
Not
posts?
all posts have somebody there for lunch.
For lunch.
Some
Well,
posts-
I would like to know how many posts are ghost posts and crossing nobody.
It's still, your figure's wrong, Larry.
Well, if the figure is wrong, but I'm just saying, we give money away with this hand, and then we're holding up a project there.
Budget for school crossing
Do the
guards is
math.
600.
Do it. That's the way I figured it out. Okay, the other thing is, we talk about the properties, maintenance and all of that. I read in the paper about 2 weeks ago, Pompton Lakes passed an ordinance. They hired a landscaper for any vacated properties, abandoned properties, whatever. They get $30 or $33 to maintain the property every 2 weeks. They cut the lawn, they do it, whatever. They put the lien with the town, with the taxes. This way you don't have that in all the neighborhoods. I mean, you ride through the town, you see the people. People don't want to cut their grass, they want to let it grow that high. Well, do it, hire a landscaper, or let the DPW do it, and you put the lien against the house. This way we don't have the problem with it. Yeah.
Pete was just answering you. We do that.
We do that.
Okay?
We've been doing that for
You
years.
do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to know the addresses where you do it.
We put them, on the property.
Huh?
I'll tell you, one house they do is right on the corner of mine.
Well, I'll tell you a lot of houses, like I say, I'll start telling you the ones that they don't do. Whether they're vacant or they're not vacant. Let's see, crossing guards, okay. The other thing now, relating to the, it's a zoning issue. There's a building on Market Street that's been issued summonses, I believe, in November or December. They went to court. I don't know the outcome in
Larry, I
court.
want to stop you right there. This isn't the zoning board.
No, it's not. But I'm telling you what,
It belongs
no,
to-
I'm going to tell you. It has nothing to do with the zoning board. I'm saying that how you say that the enforcement, we have no enforcement. The building should be red tagged. It's an illegal apartment and it's an illegal use. And the building is a business and it's operating. We can't allow businesses to do that. Do what they want to do first and then come before the zoning board 6 months later or 3 years later. Because in
Where is this?
238 Market Street. You want me to say the name? I'll say
The
it.
only thing I can tell you, can I speak?
Please.
The only thing I can tell you is that, what she just said, I mean, this isn't an enforcing agency, and that,
Oh, I'm just asking, the council either has to do something or the mayor has to do something, but you can't allow businesses to do what they want to do and then get caught and then take 6 months later to get the tenant. There's an illegal tenant. If there's a fire in that house and the tenant was to die in the fire, the town's liable because the town's been notified.
I know as a fact, because he just told me, we were just talking about this.
Right.
We did have a conversation.
We did. We had a meeting on it,
And we
right?
told the zoning officer or construction official to enforce the law. And
Right.
he, from what I understand, did that.
He issued summonses, but
Yes.
the business should not be allowed to operate. No business should be allowed to operate like that.
But I
No
can-
business.
But I can only tell you that's within his jurisdiction. He technically reports to the Department of Community Affairs, and if he's decided that this is the way he wants to handle it,
It's not being handled, though. Nothing is being done. The person was issued the summonses, he comes in for the 3 things that he wants, and he already did them already. And he has an illegal tenant. You know there's an illegal tenant there. It's a non-permitted use. In 2015, let me tell you something, he filled out an application, and he said, as upstairs premises will be vacated and no residential use. That was in 2015. It's now 2017, the resident is still living there, it's not in the business zone, and there's all violations there.
but from what I understand, there was the appropriate summonses issued, and in cases like
But
this,
what
I
do
see-
they do, though? You have to cease and desist, that's what you have to do.
No, but I know as a fact, in certain, I can't just speak for Saddlebrook, I'm talking at other towns, that they allow, because I've seen where someone has built something that they shouldn't have built, they didn't get the proper approvals, and, you know.
We're
it
talking
gets
about,
reported.
we're talking about 2 years.
I understand.
2 years, we're not talking 2
I'm just
months.
telling you that the appropriate enforcing agency, which is the building department, has the ability to be able to get the individual who's violated the, you know, the zoning restrictions.
Right.
To make good on it, to go before.
He hasn't.
But.
How much time do we give? That's what I want to know. How much time do we give to someone who's caught doing something illegal, putting illegal storage bin, illegal signage, operating a business in a residential zone, and have an illegal tenant upstairs? How long do we give them to get everything in order?
I mean.
How long? I mean, what's a
it's
reasonable,
within-
what would be a reasonable amount? You tell me.
I can't tell you because I don't enforce.
Well,
it.
do you think 2 years is long enough to give somebody before you red sticker the building? I mean, there's other buildings that get red stickered right away within 24 hours. Within 24 hours, there's a red sticker on the building. That's enforcement. There's, like I said, preferential treatment is being issued. That's what's happening here. That's what it is, preferential treatment. And it's wrong, and I, like I said, I don't think other people would be allowed to do that. And it's being abused.
Mayor wants to talk.
Larry,
Yes.
look, this is an ongoing matter.
Right,
I know you're aware of it. You're here reporting it.
right.
We've
How
had
many times do I have to
conversations.
report it, though?
Look, the construction code official took enforcement action.
He what?
He took enforcement action. A local ordinance summons was issued to the violator,
Right?
and he has since applied, as you know, to the zoning board for
Right.
a variance, a change of
But he's
use
still
variance.
operating. It's 2 years now since he told
Now,
the
let me-
building
let me finish.
inspector.
Let me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Okay, look, the summons has not yet been adjudicated. It's in the hands of Bergen County Central Municipal
Right.
Court.
You can be in court for 2 years, Bobby.
A stricter enforcement approach could have been taken, but the decision really falls at the discretion of the construction.
The
code.
construction code official. Well,
So, you know,
I guess I have to go through him then
Well,
and do it.
you know what?
But here's what I'm saying. This is from the construction official. In 2016, approved provided entire structure will be used as office space and no longer residential use. That's what his approval was for. And what is he using it for? 2 years later, he never changed the use.
Well, it was 2016. You
Right.
just gave the date, it's only 2017.
Joe, I'll give you the exact date that this was filed. November 12th, 2015. You think that's enough time? It's now May of 2017. We dragging our feet or we giving preferential treatment? That's what I'm asking you.
I don't think it's either one, Larry. I don't think we're dragging our feet, and I don't think.
Wait a second. Someone can operate an illegal business for 18 to 20 months
I think
and not
it's
be
all in
penalized and not be
litigation.
shut down?
He's
I
trying-
mean,
he's applying.
there was a guy here applying for variance, so you drag your feet with that also. That could be in court forever, ever, too.
but-
There was 2 ladies here the other night that were complaining about the hookah places on Market Street by the bagel shop. And they're legal businesses. They wanted them shut down.
Well, I don't think
They're
they wanted-
legal.
Larry, I don't think.
They're
they want-
legal.
Larry, they didn't want them shut down. I think they just wanted to keep juveniles and kids
Out of it. And there is a law protecting the store owner. He's operating a legal business with selling legal items. He's not doing anything illegal. This is an illegal business in a residential zone with an illegal tenant.
That's a big word, illegal business.
Well, Joe, don't you think we have a zoning map and we have certain areas in town which are zone business, which are zone, and you go by the zoning map. That's how you go by it. And if it doesn't fit that area, you come in and ask for a variance. You just don't go ahead and open up your business and ask nobody. You just don't do that. It's not the way to do business in town. And the town should step up and stop this. Because if they don't, this is what we have. You have a guy next door here, across the street. Okay, it's an office building. I'm tired of seeing him loading cars on Sundays. Look when you leave the building tonight. There's 2 car carriers across the street. Now, I don't care if he's letting the town park there or not. That's an illegal use right there. I don't want to see smashed up cars going on a car carrier when I go to my house.
He's operating that business across the street.
Across the street, Joe. Yeah, he is. You believe that? Yeah, you believe that.
He's got to be operating it on the street, Larry.
No, he's operating it in the
He
parking
brings
lot.
a car
I
carrier
brought it to
in the
the
parking lot.
mayor's attention the other
Brings a
day.
car carrier in the
Will you
parking
inform him to open his eyes when he goes across the street? Look across the street tonight. There's 2 car carriers. All right, they're empty now. On the weekends, he brings his cars here and he unloads them, loads them, unloads them. It's not the use for that property. Look at the meeting tonight or take time out right now and look across the street. There's 2 35-foot car carriers there in the parking lot.
But he's not leaving cars in the parking.
Yes, he is.
He's leaving.
No, he's leaving them on the trailer. He comes and he places cars, he loads them up and ships them out. Yeah, but even the trailers don't belong there, Joe.
You know, the only thing is this, Larry. The only thing I have to say, I have a little experience in other towns because I've had a business in other towns, and I just want to ask you one question.
Go ahead.
If you were the mayor, would you be business friendly, or would you try to push business out?
Well, I wouldn't allow people to operate in residential areas. There's business zones and there's residential zones.
You're right. But even
Okay, so that's what I would be. I would be business friendly in the business zone. Okay?
Market Street's not a business zone?
Not for that property over there, not for that use, Joe. There's certain uses. That's what you have to do. Read what zones are for what areas. There's industrial use, there's residential use, there's business, there's light business, and read what's permitted in them areas.
Can we move on?
Through the chair,
No, but like I say, I'm here asking the town, when are we going to take action on that
I
building?
believe it's in action, Larry. The case
There is no action being
is
taken.
not applying for variance.
through
No,
the
Through
chair,
the chair.
no.
I think a clarification should be made. The address that you spoke of was, I think, 238 Market Street. My understanding, and I believe I'm correct on this, is that from the Pizza Hut property, which, all the way up on the west side of Market Street, all the way down to the, on the spot, the one next to the Saddlebrook Diner. Those properties along Market Street are all zoned business. So I think you're wrong in that by saying that the businesses.
All right, let me just read you
I
the
think-
denial letter.
well,
Mr.
I'm not
Simaluka?
gonna talk over you, and please don't
Okay, go
talk over
ahead.
me.
Finish your
Okay.
speech. Go ahead.
The issue, I believe, is that there is a mixed use, and that's why that applicant is before the zoning board, because it's a mixed use. And apparently, you have the papers, I don't, but when there was an application made, the tenancy upstairs, the second floor, the upper floor, was supposed to be for office use. So it would only be one use, which is permitted in that zone. Now, it's on the corner of Harrop, so it may appear to be in a residential zone, but I believe the frontage is on Market, so it makes it part of the business zone that's all along Market Street. So the business itself is not illegal. The tenancy is in question, and my understanding is on the criminal end or quasi-criminal end, a summons has been issued, which is pending in Bergen Vicinage Court. And secondly, it's administratively being addressed by an application before the zoning board. So the owner, or the business operator, I should say, I don't know if he owns the property, but the business operator has been cited criminally or quasi-criminally, which will be adjudicated, as the mayor said, at some point. I mean, we don't control, none of us control the court system. And then the zoning board, of which you're a member, is going to hear the application. So I just think when you say the business is illegal, my opinion, I think you're wrong.
Well, okay. To open a business or run a business in town, you need a 100 by 100 lot. That's 50 by 100. In today's rules that we have with zoning, you couldn't even build a house there. You need 65 by 100 to build a house. This property is 50 by 100, okay? And he wants a business use. You need 100 by 100 to have a business. The property is deficient to start with, and then you want to have a mixed use on top of that. Like I say, we're not having a zoning application here tonight, but I'm just saying it's time for the town to step up and start enforcing the law, okay? Because you're not permitted to operate, and it's illegal what's being done there. And everything he's asking for, he did already. No one is allowed to have a pod on their property permanently. Nobody is. The town doesn't allow it. It's an ordinance in town. It's not allowed. Front yard parking is not allowed on a county road on Market Street. That's the only parking he has.
Larry?
He's operating
I have a
the
question
business
for you.
illegally.
How about the businesses from, what is it, Kentucky Fried Chicken to Firestone Tire?
Right.
I mean, when I was a little kid, I used to go there with my mother and get my hair cut. I mean, those businesses.
They did a good job because you got none left.
I know. Those businesses are pretty small though, Larry. They're not 50 by 100.
Right.
And parking is always head on. And they park head on.
They're grandfathered in, Joe. This is going to be
Oh,
a
I
new
don't think so.
business.
Yeah, wait a minute. Wait
This is
a
going to
minute.
be a new
Wait a minute.
business.
It's not the same barber shop when I was a kid, Larry. I'll tell you
Okay.
that. Even though he did.
Whatever, I'm not talking about that. I don't care about that right now. Right now, I care about this one, right here.
You're concerned.
I'll go down the street.
I think we should move along.
Well, I'm asking for an answer. When are we going to take some kind of action against it? And do what we have to do, or else you can be in the court system forever.
Larry, let me just.
Go ahead.
Let me just say this. Look, your point, which I think everybody understands, and I think the only credible point, well, the point you're trying to drive home is that you think that business should cease and desist.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
And until it's approved. If it's approved, fine. But you can't just open up without getting the proper permits and the thing. The business or the building inspector or the code enforcer should go there and shut it down.
But that's
he
where-
operated without the proper procedure. There's a procedure that we have.
That's where we differ. And we're differing, you're differing with Tony Ambrosio,
Right.
our construction code official. okay, like I said before, he exercised his discretion. And like Councilman Camilleri said, you know what, and I've seen it I've seen it with other businesses as well. We try to be business friendly.
Exactly.
So he exercised his discretion, and I stand behind him. I understand your point.
But Bobby,
point
he
well
had to
taken,
be
but-
taken by the hand, and we had to sit in a meeting with me, Suarez, me, and the building inspector, and he had to be told what to do. Okay? So he's not doing his job. The attorney had to tell him to issue the citation. Okay?
All right.
Tony didn't, no, it's not okay. It's not okay. No, it's not. Because now, it's to the point now where the building inspector has to be told by the attorney what to do.
But
And he didn't do his job.
The attorney doesn't tell
He
him what to do.
didn't do his job, yes or no?
We sat down.
And he's not doing his job. He had to be told, but don't tell me, I was at the meeting. Okay, I was at the meeting. Me, like I say again, me, you, the attorney, the building inspector. We sat down and we discussed the building. And you said to the building inspector, what do you do when you find an illegal apartment? And he said, I issue a summons. And you said, what's taking so long? Do you remember that? I do.
I remember saying.
I do.
Sound legal advice as to the situation.
I remember that. So that means our building inspector has to be told what to do.
Not
We
really.
got to bring the attorney in to
Larry,
tell him.
Slow down 1 minute. Maybe the building inspector just wanted legal advice before he does.
No, he didn't. That meeting was called by, I asked to have that meeting. Okay? Not the building inspector. I asked to have that meeting. Okay? Because I felt right then and there, and you told him they were the exact words, preferential treatment you cannot give. They were not my words, they were your words. And that's the words that were given. Preferential treatment. So let's go, let's do our job, let's do the right thing, and let's get someone that's going to enforce the... You don't need a code enforcer that has to be told by an attorney what to do. Okay? When he sees an illegal apartment, you issue a summons, and that's it. The guy's to appear in court. But not 2 years later, though. Not 2 years later.
Maybe it wasn't brought to his attention.
It was, Joe, it was brought to his attention months ago. Months ago, it was brought to his attention. And it sat, and it sat, and it sat. And then finally, I asked for that meeting. But it shouldn't have to be done that way. And it should be done. That building should be closed tomorrow. Okay? And if it's not, I think I'm going to have to either go to the prosecutor in Bergen County and ask why it's not being done. Why we can't get things done in town. And I'll take it to the next step. And that's what I'll do. Thank you.
So I just want one final thing. Larry, that complaint that was received to Tony Ambrosio wasn't 2 years before.
No.
That was within,
no, on that statement from him. I'll let you read it. I don't make these
Yeah.
things up. See the date here? 2015 received, okay? What does it say there? So
right,
who's
no,
lying?
no, no
Who's
residential
lying?
use.
Who's lying? Somebody's
But-
lying.
But how did he know,
How did you know?
how would Tony Ambrosio have
Because do a
known?
follow-up.
Well,
do a follow-up, that's all.
maybe that was done and there was no tenant there.
The tenant is ever moved.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know.
Okay, who is next? We're still in open. Anybody else wish to come up?
Like I said, you gotta go to the next step. Gotta take it to the next
That's a
step.
tough act to follow. Sylvie Zattarelli, 232 Lands Ave. I want to know, is there an emergency evacuation plan for residents? And if so, can somebody tell me what it is?
Mayor?
That's emergency management. I don't have it in front of me. Yes, there is a plan.
And what would constitute an emergency that would warrant it being,
Evacuation,
yeah, well,
Flooding?
flooding. is
okay,
flooding.
I was evacuated. I had to be evacuated months ago, and I just was hoping it was like a once-in-a-lifetime incident, but fire department has been dispatched to that residence a few times at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I know every incident is different. It could be that residence, it could be another one. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, I really don't want to be standing in the middle of my street with no direction with my family, because that's what happened to us the first time.
I'm not aware of the incident. You have to explain it a little bit.
Well,
I don't know what you're
it was
talking
in the
about.
paper. It was the house that had the gas leak, and the amounts of gas were outrageous. They've never seen gas levels that high. And we had to evacuate, and there was no direction. Like, we didn't know how long we were going to be there. There was nowhere to go. The fire department knocked at our door, made sure we got out. I'm lucky I got to take my dog. We couldn't move our cars. We couldn't get anything, and that's fine. They have to protect us. If we were out there 17 hours, were we going to stand there 17 hours? If it was raining, like, there was no instruction.
Well, it's up to
So-
the fire department to contact emergency management and work along with emergency management and the police department and our emergency services to do.
Okay, so
do
if it,
whatever
then
they have to
then
do.
they would call. So for my
Right.
peace of mind, knowing that there is something in place,
You know,
that's
this
what
was
I'm
a
asking.
temporary evacuation due to a gas leak. I mean, how long were you out of the house?
2 hours at least.
Well, if it needed to be for longer, I'm sure they would have, emergency management would have made arrangements to house you and take whatever action
2
was
hours
necessary.
isn't a long time.
Well, in the middle of the night it is, but normally, no. 2 hours, it's not really. I mean, I wouldn't want to be standing out there 3 in the morning either, but, you know, it was done for your protection.
And
The fire chief made
believe
that
you
call.
me, I'm not complaining about that by any means. I get that. I just want to know, God forbid something in the future, there's somewhere to go. I just don't want to be standing there. That's my point.
Normally, if it's a longer period of time, you would have been brought to an evacuation site, probably the senior center.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. Emil Sudol, Van Leeuwen Terrace, here, Township, Saddlebrook. I've been bringing these same points up meeting after meeting. My favorite topic, Fifth Street. If I may, through the chair, to Mr. Peter Ladico. I believe that we had the county involved in a cleanup of a, how are we doing with that? Is that completed, or?
It's not completed. They're coming back at the end of the month to complete the work.
So by the end of the month is?
Yes.
Fantastic. That's great news.
And we've been checking, the mayor, myself, the council, when it rains. As far as I know, check with the police. We seem to be in good shape there with the work that's been done.
Super, fantastic. Do we have a property maintenance department here in the township? If there, we do, if a resident doesn't upkeep his property. Once again, getting back to Fifth Street, with the old Amyloid building, you know, that thing is a ridiculous eyesore. All of this started, I believe, back with Hurricane Sandy, right? Superstorm Sandy, the complex caught on fire and the building was demolished. Whatever's left standing there right now really looks horrible. It has some sort of fence around the property in the front, but the building itself, it's abandoned. I'm sure someone owns it. Is there any way that we can get property maintenance to issue either summonses or contact the owner to do something to spruce that building up? I mean, it really looks horrible. If I lived across the street from that and I had to look at that every day, I would really be pissed off. I mean, that's really got to devalue your property. Even if they put a coat of paint on the building, anything to just make it look better. That's all I have to, to request. If there's something that we could do just to go after them to do something.
Mayor, do you have an update on that? Do you have something on that?
The only thing I could say is that I know that there have been summonses issued there for various things. And when they're asked to do whatever it is, they will comply, but they receive summonses. And it's right now, I believe that they're looking to build something there. They haven't come forth with any applications, but.
It's been 4 years since Sandy. Like I said,
know.
even a coat of paint.
They had a
on
lot
that.
of problems there with, that was an EPA site, hazardous
Right.
material site, which has since been cleaned up, to the point where I believe they're gonna do something there.
So can the township
Industrial.
issue some summonses or something just for, I mean, that,
Well, they have, I mean, as far as, are you talking about summonses for an abandoned building? I mean,
just
they're-
failure to
they're-
upkeep your property, having it look halfway
Yeah,
decent.
well, like I said, it has. And you know what, most of it's because now with the spring and the grass grows, weeds grow, and that's what, those are the biggest complaints. And then when they had that snow fence up, that was blowing all over the place. And so they've received summonses, they've been told they gotta.
Still nothing, they're not doing a thing about it.
I mean, I think they're a little better. I mean, they're not.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to live there either, but it's it's a
Well,
situation where you said the history where there was a fire.
Yeah, but it's
You
just,
know what? In a way, I honestly think it looks better because at least it's back. I mean. it
yeah,
didn't
but
look
you
too
could
good
really,
when
I
it was
mean,
so
it's
close to
really
the
looks terrible.
street.
Take a good look at
Yeah,
it.
no, I know,
It really
I know.
looks horrible.
know.
Just finally, the last thing, I know, we were talking about possibly doing some paving around town, and you were going to put together a list on roads that needed to be paved. Think maybe Fifth Street will make it to that list? Is that a possibility?
Now that the water main project is completed, we do have 2 grants from the DOT, $300,000 in total. I believe we applied for an additional grant. We will get it paved once the water project is completed. I think our engineer told us Tuesday night it's just about complete. So I anticipate this year we'll be going out to bid and paving.
For Fifth Street?
Yes.
Super. And one other thing, Market Street was also included in it?
I think the mayor has an update on that. That's a county road, Market Street.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to start paving. Originally, they were supposed to start paving, I believe, in June, but now they pushed it back to August, which is actually a good thing because we have a couple of projects that we need to get done before they pave.
Okay, this is the entire length of Market Street, right
Yeah,
through town?
Ireland, yeah.
Great. That's it, that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second? Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka. Yes. Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Dorminio.
Yes. Motion is closed to the public. Next, we're going to do the budget amendment. We need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Second? Okay, roll call.
Councilman
I'm
Simaluka.
just gonna ask, and I asked him personally, but just for the people out there, there is an amendment to this, so it's just Mr. Wilcox, since he is here, if you could just briefly explain. I know it's based, you're not gonna get away with this, Steve. So, I know it's based on some state requirement, but maybe Mr. Wilcox could just explain it just before we vote.
Sure, there's just a couple of things. The state is asking us to reallocate the state aid based on the actual certification. The total stays the same, but the allocation changes. There are 2 grants that we have that weren't in the original budget, so these are being inserted for clean communities and body armor. And we need to provide additional money for payment of principal on bond anticipation notes in the water utility. That was the requirement that causes us to publish the amendment and have a separate public hearing on the amendment at a future date.
So the $34 that you quoted,
No
that's
impact.
got no impact on it.
No.
Okay, thank you, I vote yes.
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
I vote yes again.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Dorminio.
Yes.
Passed. I'll let you know.
So, I know you have to go, so this is a good time. We thank you for coming, Dow. Thank you.
Good night, Steve.
Good night.
Ray, you also. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, comments. Mr. Simaluka.
I have none.
Really? Elizabeth. Wow.
Boy,
You're good too?
hell's gonna freeze over.
Okay. I have a few. I wanted to bring up the Easter egg hunt and thank Councilman Todd Accamundo, his wife Shannon, who really did a great job, the Women's Club, the Mayor's Youth Group, and of course Christine, the Mayor's Secretary. It was really a good event. The kids had fun. It was bigger than it was last year. And I thank you, Todd, and the friends that you brought in. Also, I don't have their names, but all the women that participated, thank you. I just wanted to say, 2 weeks ago, I guess, I was at a dinner at the VFW honoring Harry Reid on our ambulance corps for his 60 years of service. And 2 days later, I needed to call the ambulance for my husband, who got hurt. And I just want to say they came quickly. They were very professional. They assessed the situation. He hurt his foot. They wrapped it so he wasn't in so much pain, took him to the hospital. It's incredible what our ambulance corps does. They are doing their fundraising right now. We are one of the few towns that has daytime volunteer ambulance. And I just want to thank them all. And if we could all give a little bit to our first responders, it'll go a long way. So I want to thank our first responders, both ambulance, corps, and fire, for what they do. And the senior housing we didn't talk about. We are at our art meeting on August 7th, having the county here. Yes, Mr. Sudol, I looked at you. We are having everybody from the county coming to the art meeting Monday, August 7th at 1:30. It is by registration because we do have an occupancy that we have in the building. But if you'd like to come, it's going to be question and answers about what it takes to apply, to get in, and all of that. On that note, they are out for quotes, and actually people were there on Monday when we had an art meeting to get a number to knock the building down. So it is moving forward. We are very excited, and we are looking forward to that getting done. And I think I covered it all. Happy Mother's Day. And that's it for me, Mr. Camilleri.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. I just have one comment, and it's a good thing. I mean, I speak for myself, but I do talk to all the council members up here, and we do what we can do for the town. Tuesday's workshop meeting, there was a woman in here, and she actually lives around the corner from me, complaining about the tractor-trailer traffic on Rochelle Parkway and going up Mayhill. So it was just the other day, I was coming home from work. Sure enough, this tractor-trailer making a left up Mayhill Street going into the industrial area. So I took it upon myself to follow the truck. I waited for the guy to back the truck into the loading dock. I went up to his tractor. I parked my car. I go, "Can you come out a minute, please?" I just explained to him nicely the route that he took to the industrial park is not the proper route in the town of Saddlebrook. He was very receptive, and I did ask him, when you do leave, you go out that driveway, you make a right onto Mayhill, it'll wind, twist around, and go out to Market. And then after that, I did proceed to go into Arrow Staplers to talk to some of the management, because we had a situation like that in another part of town where the management also helped. What they did is they went through a vendor list of all the trucks that come to their business, and they could email them the proper route to get to the businesses. So my point is, we do work, we do act on things, and I think a few more trips down there will definitely help, and it'll enhance the neighborhood. The tractor trailers should not be driving there, and maybe we can resolve one problem at a time here. Besides that, happy Mother's Day to all the great mothers out there, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Joe. Todd?
Yes, I also want to thank everyone that volunteered for the Easter party. Also, we did a ceremony at Avon Park for the Angels. these kids are just so happy just being out, and to give them a park of their own was just a great feeling. It was well deserved. Mike and his wife, Maniscalco,
James.
they do a great job with the program, and it was just really heartfelt that these kids got that park to be able to utilize it whenever they can. And that's pretty much it, other than Happy Mother's Day, and thank you again.
And just before Mayor,
Thank
on
you.
that note, Todd, and we have angels playing in our neighborhood on the park, which I think is a great thing. You're right. Mayor?
Okay, I kind of miss Councilman Simaluka's comments. I never thought I'd say that, but I feel like maybe, well, you got
There's
new.
still old and new business
That's
to
right, you
go.
got old and new business.
Never
so-
know.
Anyway, I have a proclamation. I would have liked to have read it earlier, but we didn't get to it. But I'm not going to read the whole thing. The month of May is Older Americans Month. And basically, it was something that was done back in 1963 by John F. Kennedy, declaring it national. He formed the National Council of Senior Citizens. But anyway, I'm going to read this part, not the whole thing. Whereas in our township, the Saddlebrook Senior Center is an access point for seniors in our community that provides information, education, and social activities to promote healthy and active lifestyles. And whereas the Township of Saddlebrook is committed to helping older adults live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. So therefore, on this fourth day, May 2017, I recognize May as the Older Americans Month and acknowledge older adults and the people who serve and support them as vital citizens who contribute to the community. Going on, we have two unanticipated police officer retirements, which has prompted the Chief of Police, Chief Kugler, to recommend hiring replacements. I have initiated the hiring process with the New Jersey Civil Service Commission. We do have breakage funds that's left over that had been allocated for these retiring officers to pay them to the end of the year, but they're retiring as of June 30th, so July 1st they'll be off the books. So we do have that money that we could use to pay for new officers. Crane ordinance, we discussed that. We've had it up for months. We've been talking about it, which is a good thing because we got a lot of input from various sources. I'm very confident that we've done our homework. Council members spoke about it, our construction code official, town engineer, the union, the engineers, labor union, OSHA, other municipalities. So I believe the town attorney is prepared now to prepare an ordinance that provides for the safety concerns of the town and meets the needs of the community. The ordinance will be discussed at the May 30th work session, and then hopefully we'll have it up for a first reading at the June 1st regular meeting. We talked about Bergen County repaving Market Street. Karen mentioned the senior housing project. We're currently preparing another newsletter for 2016, 2017, which will serve as my annual report to the community. We're using recycling grant funds and other various line items to pay for the newsletter. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. I want to thank all the teachers for the extraordinary work that they do. They play an important role in society. They teach our kids, they educate and develop our children, and their service cannot be overstated. Then their impact, I believe, goes beyond the barriers of the classroom. I especially want to thank our incredible and dedicated teachers in the Saddlebrook School District. They do a fantastic job with our kids and our community. I'm proud to stand with them and to ensure that our students in Saddlebrook have the best possible education that they can get. The Saddlebrook School District lost an inspirational leader. We had a moment of silence. Last month, Jack Impemeni passed away. He was a great person, teacher and administrator. My condolences go out to his family, his friends, and the whole entire school community. Karen spoke about the Easter celebration. The only one that I think that I need to thank is our mayor's youth group for helping set up the work, then work the games. She hit on, and also Thomas Van Winkle for taking photos. And there is a video out that's on our town TV and also the town website and Facebook of the event. Todd mentioned the sign dedication at Avon Park. It was a really nice event, and it was held by the newly built sign at Avon Park. He mentioned James and Monica Maniscalco. They actually started the program, the Angels program, which is a program for children with special needs, and it's called the Saddlebrook Angels. And they also spearheaded the project to build a new sign. James was able to get a team of volunteers. He assembled them to complete the work, and I have to thank, he got contributions. A big shout out to William Merritt of Belden Brick in town here for donating the supplies, the brick and the mortar, and also Frank Staffa of Well Built Carpentry and Builders. He had a mason go over there and build it. Again, the sign, which is at the entrance of Avon Park, on the entrance to Avon Lane side, now officially recognizes the park as being the home of the Saddlebrook Angels. Special thanks also to the members of the Mayor's Youth Group and also to our DPW. That morning that we had the dedication, it was also Earth Day, so the youth group and the DPW planted bushes and an evergreen tree near the monument and near the sign earlier that morning. And again, it was in honor of Earth Day and the sign dedication, so I thank them. We also had Little League opening day, that same day, that April 22nd, on that Saturday. We had a busy day. It was a nice event. Council and I attended. I want to thank President John Toohey and the Executive Board of Little League for doing a great job organizing the parade. I also want to thank our police department, DPW, for assisting with traffic, our fire department and ambulance corps for participating in the parade. There is a video of that event as well that can be viewed on our town TV and the town website and Facebook. Garfield had their 100th anniversary parade. I marched in there in honor of their parade. That was this past Sunday. Our fire department also participated. They had the fire chief and had a few trucks there. I want to congratulate the city of Garfield for their anniversary and putting on a spectacular parade. Upcoming events, this Saturday, May the 6th, behind Coolidge Schools, the paper shredding event. We also have the Saddlebrook Law Enforcement Memorial, which is Monday, May 15th at 12 noon, out here in front of Town Hall. The Memorial Day Parade is Sunday, May 28th. There's various services starting at 9. The parade starts at 1:30 at Fairlawn Parkway in Shepis. The parade is a good opportunity to remember and pay respect to our veterans who have sacrificed so much in the name of freedom, and to thank our veterans organizations, the VFW and American Legion, for all they do to support the community. There's also lead graduation on Tuesday, May 30th, 6:30 p.m. at the Saddlebrook High School. And happy Mother's Day, and thank you.
Next is the ordinances, but I'd like to thank you for the proclamation since I'm the most senior member here.
You're welcome.
Ordinances.
Ordinance 1625-17, an ordinance amending the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, rescinding the ordinance for a unified electronic reporting system for dealers in scrap metal. For second reading.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Dorminio?
Yes.
An ordinance amending the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, rescinding the ordinance for a unified electronic reporting system for dealers in scrap metal.
Motion.
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Dorminio?
Yes. Motion to open to the public on this ordinance only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public can come up and speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only. Anybody? Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, rescinding the ordinance for a unified electronic reporting system for dealers in scrap metal, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomondo.
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes.
Next ordinance is ordinance 1626-17 for a final reading. It's an ordinance amending filing fees, escrow deposits, and completion checklist pertaining to development applications before the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomondo.
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes.
An ordinance amending filing fees, escrow deposits, and completion checklists pertaining to development applications before the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to open on this ordinance only to the public.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone wishing to come up to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending filing fees, escrow deposits, and completion checklists pertaining to the development applications before the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomondo.
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes.
Next ordinance, first reading is ordinance 1627-17, a bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of road resurfacing, curb replacement, and repair and replacement of sanitary sewer lines at various locations in, by, and for the Township of Saddlebrook, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $995,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds for first reading.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomondo.
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of road resurfacing, curb replacement, and repair and replacement of sanitary sewer lines at various locations in, by, for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $995,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds, finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the first day of June 2017 at 7:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Accomondo.
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samuca?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Arminio.
Yes. Old business. Mr. Simaluka?
I don't know if these are old or new. I'm getting confused.
So you're doing both then?
Yeah, I'll do both.
Okay.
Middle of the ground. I just gotta say, the correspondence number 1 that was sent to Mayor White from Senator Gordon, it was in regard to our affordable housing, the resolution that we passed in support of a couple of assembly bills that would basically take it out of the courts and put it into the hands of the legislature. And I'll be honest, I mean, I like Bob Gordon, but I was a little bit disappointed in the response. He says that there's been much concern about municipal affording housing obligations, and I think we all agree that I think that the latest figure from some Fair Housing Council was we need 280,000 more units. The problem is that a lot of these, the builders, they do this builder remedy, and they take, for every one affordable housing unit, they build 4 others. So it's just an incredible burden on towns that, and some of them don't have any areas, so they're filling up any kind of open space with this housing. What he says here, I expected something more along the lines of, yes, I understand your concerns. He does say that, but he kind of couches that. It says, however, in my capacity as a legislator, I am daily approached by constituents who cannot find safe, reasonably priced housing for rent or purchase. I think the problem is not the affordable housing. I think the problem is the state income tax. I'm sorry, not the state income tax, the property taxes. And I think that the property taxes are driven mainly by the education costs. And I think what's happening for mostly suburban towns, and listen, I don't live in an urban area, so I'll speak just from what I know, and that's suburban towns. We pay much more per capita than what we get back. We are paying for other people and for other towns. We are basically sending our money to some school systems, and these school systems, a lot of them, I can't say every one, are failing, and they failed. They're failed to the point where they had to be taken over by the state. So I think this arbitrary number of making our towns responsible to provide this housing is the wrong approach. According to the senator, he says these the bills that were sponsored by Assemblywoman Shapizi would only serve to delay any meaningful action to redress the problem. I just respectfully disagree. I think that we have to put it in the hands of people who get voted into office and people who have not a lifetime tenure. We have people in robes who, after a certain period of time, are basically, they're bulletproof. I don't want to use that term because there was a bomb scare today at the county courthouse while I was there. But they have lifetime tenure. And there is no, I don't know the word, but they don't have anything any way for people to object to it. They do what they want to do, and I'm sure that most of them have what they think is the best interest of the people in mind, but there's no, accountability is the word I was looking for. There's no accountability, because with our legislators, there's accountability, especially in the Assembly every 2 years. I mean, they get elected and the next day they're out running again, and they can easily be replaced. So I was just a little bit disappointed with that. We had a function for the Access for All. We sponsored something from the sheriff and the Bergen County Sheriff. I want to thank Sheriff Sordino and two of his officers who came down to the senior center. We signed up some people. They were all kids. I think there was one adult who has autism. Most of them had autism-related disabilities. I don't believe there were any physical disabilities there. Mr. Weinberg, who's in the audience, was there. And what we did, we gave the information, or no, the parents came and they gave the information, and they put it down on the computer, and they will be given a card. Now, based on the age, the card will either be given to the child or given to the parent. Sometimes there are issues that we see in the papers and TV sometimes with different authorities knowing how to handle certain people, and they're not aware that there's certain disabilities. They can, if somebody is nonverbal or can't be approached and gets panicked, they would have this to either to give to someone who approaches them. We're talking about, by someone, I mean somebody, a figure of authority, or the parent could have that access to that. Now, it was attended. It wasn't as much as we expected, but we plan on doing this again, maybe in the fall. Maybe we might do it at the, maybe have a tent or something at the Unico Street Fair or something like that. But it was a good event, and I believe that when some of the parents who did it show some of the other parents who did not come, they would say, geez, well, I didn't know about it. We did advertise the heck out of it, but and we had some calls. We had like 40 or 50 people called about it, but we didn't have 40 or 50 people show up. But hopefully the word of mouth will spread, and we will get a much larger turnout the next time. The opposite end of the spectrum, we talked about young children, talk about seniors, and it is the I guess it's called older citizen. There was a proclamation from the mayor, and there was something in the paper which was very relevant, and that is that, God bless, is that our older citizens, and actually anybody, because you never know when you're going to get ill, but just be aware that you should have some kind of document which gives somebody the ability to speak on your behalf should you become ill, and cannot relay your wishes to medical providers, basically a medical power of attorney, something like that. So it is in the community news today. You can read up on it. You can get more information from the County of Bergen, which is very proactive in that area. But I would suggest that anybody who is ill, anybody of a certain age, or just anyone who's concerned about what would happen to them in the event that they are not able to relay their wishes to medical providers, that they should have something in writing. And I guess the last thing, the one thing is that at the baseball, at the Little League thing, former Yankee Mickey Rivers was there, and I don't know the person who, I think Willie Randolph was here last year. Was it Willie Randolph?
No.
Roy White.
Roy White? Okay, so we've been getting Yankees, former Yankees to come, so it was pretty cool to see Mickey Rivers, and he was very, very gracious and posed for pictures. Actually, I went to Nick's sandwich shop afterwards, and then he came in, and he was posing for pictures with anyone who showed up. So, very nice guy, and we appreciate him coming, and thanks to whoever got him. Again, happy Mother's Day, and we'll see you next month.
But through the chair, I just want to clarify something. When Councilman Simaluk was referring to failing school systems, he wasn't referring to Saddlebrook. He was referring to other areas. I just want to clarify that.
I'm talking about suburban schools seem to be funding the urban schools. A Newark school system, a Camden school system, a Patterson school system, school systems that have been, in fact, taken over by the state because of year after year of mishandling, and our tax dollars are just not coming back to us. And again, that I think is what's driving people out. It's the high property taxes, and people just and other taxes in New Jersey, which I think are related to that. And it's just people just can't seem to afford to retire here, and that's why you see the exodus down south. They don't have that same issue that we seem to have.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
No, no,
I
thank
don't
you.
want people
Thank
to
you. No,
badmouth you.
I want to clarify that also, yes.
Is there any tape left? Anyway, I'm going to make it short and sweet. I just want to congratulate our council president here, Karen D'Arminio, for doing such a great job with leading ARP, our chapter of ARP. She just gave up the reins last Monday. I believe you served for 2 terms, for 4 years, and she did an amazing job. She really did. You made the meetings so enjoyable. The latest, which was last Monday, she had a doo-wop group there, and the attendance, the room was full. And you're definitely going to be missed, but I understand Joe Lish took on the presidency, but I'm sure Karen's going to be really close by. And awesome job. And just a belated happy birthday to Mr. Pete Lizico. He celebrated his birthday last week, and I tried to get him to take the day off, but he's just so
Council
dedicated.
President said no.
I said no. He could have off tomorrow. Remember I gave you
I asked for
2
today.
in lieu of.
Okay, but
Thank you.
many more. And a happy Mother's Day, especially to my mom out there. Enjoy. Thank you.
Pete is actually 46 years old, but
I had dark hair when I started here.
I just want to make mention, our next work session is May 30th. Normally, we start at 6:30. The lead graduation is before it. So the night of the work session, it will start at 7:30 instead of 6:30. Joe? Yes, May 30th.
Karen, just through the chair, and
Sure.
I don't know, I just got a couple of things I want to mention. I just want to reiterate what Flo said about Karen. You're doing a terrific job.
Thank you.
That senior center is thriving. You have nice events, and they really look forward to going to the center and enjoying it, and so it's really nice to see.
Thank you.
I just want to mention what Andrew said about the affordable housing. Last week, I was at the mayor's conference, and that resolution that we passed came up. And apparently, I think there was some were offended by that because they felt that the resolution was kind of harsh, and that by passing it, that anybody that passed the resolution, that it was opposed to the goals of affordable housing, when in fact it wasn't. So there was some discussion about it. I believe we're objecting to really the process and the solution that the court has given us to rectify the situation. But we're not against the affordable housing. I think it's a good thing. So possibly that might have been why Senator Gordon wrote that, because there was apparently some discussion and it ruffled some feathers. I personally don't feel that resolution was that harsh. I think it drove home the point that it's whatever we're doing now is not working. So let's try another approach. The only other thing I wanted to say was regarding the crossing guard contract. I want everyone to know that Pete kind of got thrown under the bus here tonight. But look, that contract was negotiated. Pete did, he was the one that was in the room, but him and I spoke regularly about it, and we ran things past each other. And the council, they understood, and we spoke about it in our work sessions, and it's a give and take. Negotiations a give and take. And Larry's numbers are, look, I just did roughly, and first off, they don't work 52 weeks. They have the summer off. So,
They work
and
180 days. It's
okay.
180 days,
Well,
every school day they work.
Right, no, I know that, and so it's 5 days a week, do 42 hours, 42 weeks in the year, with their time off. I come up with 21,000 a year, so that's 42,000. Look, you know what, we can debate and say, hey, should they be there, shouldn't they be there? To me, I'd rather err on the side of safety. You know what, there are some kids some parents, some people that are walking, even though we have the full-day kindergarten now. And there are some posts that they have to be there because by the high school, you have high school age and middle school kids that they could offer lunch. The high school, I believe, gets offer lunch. So they walk. So, but anyway, my point is, these crossing guards, a lot of them are retired individuals that need this, that need the job. They took the job because they need the job. I don't personally think the amount of money they make, if it's $20 an hour, I don't know what it is. It's not a lot of money. In my opinion, in a budget, a $25 million budget, I think they're worth it. And you know what, and there was concessions. They gave back. So I respectfully disagree entirely with Mr. Ratajczyk's argument. Some may think he has a valid point. Maybe to say if someone's not needed, why are they there? I get that. But, I believe that the contract is a good one, and I'm in favor of them being there. That's the way I feel. So people can disagree with me.
Just while we're on the subject, Mayor had touched on some of the points. In the contract, we did reduce hours on the posts. It'll only be morning and afternoon. We did eliminate one post.
Yes.
We did change some of the hours. And as the mayor said, and I said earlier, it's give and take. These school crossing guards for 2 decades or more have had in their contracts set hours, minimum hours. To be fair to the current employees who are there, and we've done this with every bargaining group going back since the 1990s. We've made the change for new hires. We already have changes coming up because people are retiring. The hours will kick in for those new people. And again, we've done this with the other contracts, and the School Crossing Guard Committee was agreeable with, realized that we had to make some changes, and we did.
Thank you,
Done,
Peter.
Ed?
Yes.
Joe, do you have?
Yeah, thank you. Andrew, just to your question, the Little League, the person who brings in those Yankees is Kenny Thimble, another Saddlebrook product who grew up in the town, and I thank him too because he always gives back to the town. Very nice gentleman. The other thing I just wanted to touch on really is a little old business, and it's been brought up at the podium, trying to smear what we do, the Veterans Field, the bathrooms. Again, you can't look into a crystal ball and say somebody's going to go broke or walk off a job on you. And I want to back our engineer because I know they're doing everything they can to move the project forward, and along with our attorney. I thank you guys. I still coach football. I'm going to have a team there this fall. I'm looking forward to it. Whether the bathrooms are done or not, I just want to move forward with it like everybody else that's up here. It's really all I wanted to comment on. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I would also like to thank John Tui and Antonella Papagallo. They made it so enjoyable for those kids. Those kids have memories of a player they would never were able to watch, but they were able to meet this guy. And like Andrew said, he signed every single piece of article you brought to him. He took a picture with every single person. I don't care if you were late 90s or 6 months old. He took a picture with every person, and then he went and enjoyed himself at the firehouse and went for a ride in a fire truck around the block. So for them, I want to thank them because my son is involved with the league, and it was a good experience just for me too. I never met the guy. I remember watching him on TV, and I gotta tell you, he was a professional guy, very professional. And I would also just like to thank the mayor and council. We get beat up here every month, and we really work well together. And I just want to thank you guys for the job you do and the time you put in. So with that being said, thank you.
Right back at you. I don't know if you didn't mention, and I thought maybe we should, the easement in Lodi, if you wanted to speak about that, the $40,000.
Yeah, Pete knows that better than I.
A few months back, we had a request. We have an old sewer easement. As people may know, our force main runs through Lodi to Passaic Valley. There's an easement that was not in use. There's no pipes under. They did approach the mayor and council, the developer, about vacating the easement. The mayor, Mr. Suarez, and I met with the developer, and we checked with the auditor, the council, and we were able to obtain $40,000 for the township vacating the easement. We still retain all rights for the easement that's there, where the sewer line is, and access, and in return, the developer will give the township $40,000.
Sure.
President, I brought this up at the meeting, and I got the order today from Judge Padavano, so the immunity has been extended till July 31st for our affordable housing case.
Thank you, and good job, Pete, on that. Okay, I'd like a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone liking to come up and speak on the agenda items only, please do so now. Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion to
the
close?
meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
What's up?